Hi, I'm Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, and I chair the Pardons Board here in Pennsylvania. And I just want to welcome you to the pardons process and thank you for getting this far. I would also encourage you to continue along that process. Here in Pennsylvania, it's never been easier. We've waived the fees, we've streamlined the application, all because we believe in a second chance here in Pennsylvania. Do you want to contribute more deeply, participate more fully? This is an opportunity to do just that. I don't believe you should be judged on the worst mistake you may have made in your life, maybe decades ago. And this is an opportunity to free yourself from that and to be fully participating in your child's school activities, in a career, or just in your community. And a pardon offers that opportunity to do so. And I strongly encourage you to see this process through.
I'm Brandon Flood, and I serve as the Secretary of the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons. I actually received my own pardon after serving 9 years in the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. This should be looked at as an investment in yourself. It doesn't provide immediate relief, but at the end of the day, an hour or two is worth having a chance to start your life anew. We are trying to make this process as simple and easy as possible for folks, so it should be looked at as an investment. When it comes to determining when is the right time to put in for a pardon, there is no standardized answer to that question, as no two snowflakes are alike. Currently, we do not have any minimum eligibility requirements, so it really falls on the applicant. I usually tell applicants themselves it's a decision for them to make. We are looking at demonstrable evidence and rehabilitation. Certainly, the more time that has elapsed since your conviction or release from prison, the better. However, the question applicants have to ask themselves is if they are putting forward the best and most robust application. For people who are incarcerated, you are not on your own. If you need an even more compelling reason for why you should apply, we've eliminated the fees. It's literally $0. It's an added incentive to seek this out, and if you need any help, our office is here for you to provide assistance. So I talked about how the pardon process was for me. Certainly, if I was able to successfully receive a pardon, I would say that the vast majority of Pennsylvanians would be able to do the same. So let's talk about the process of filling out an application in more detail. In order to complete the process, you will need to know your criminal history. In order to find that out, you will need to go to ujsportal.pacourts.us. When you get there, go to the toolbar, case information, court case, then court of common pleas. If you don't find your information, try choosing the magisterial district court or the Philadelphia Municipal Court in the search type field, and then choose participant name. There you will be able to find the dockets you need to include. Once you've determined that the dockets that you wish to include in your pardon request, obtain these documents from the clerk of courts in the county where you were convicted. If the clerk of courts does not have any of the required court documents available, request a letter from them stating such. If your case was sentenced at the magisterial district judge level and the offense was more than 7 years ago, no court documents are available, therefore no letter is required. Obtain an application by going to bop.pa.gov. If you do not have access to the internet and a printer, please call 717-787-2596 to request a packet, and it will be mailed to you. Please allow for 3 weeks processing time in order to receive the packet. Once you have obtained the court documents and have read through your instructions, you are ready to complete your application. Please read the instructions carefully. They provide necessary details and examples that will help you complete an accurate application. Let's start at the beginning with Section 1, the type of clemency requested. All clemency applications fall into 2 categories, pardons and commutations. Approximately 80% of applicants are seeking pardons or complete forgiveness by the state for a crime. Commutation is the reduction of a prison or parole sentence currently being served. Section 2 is the applicant information section. This section identifies you, where you live, and how we can reach you. Note that if any of the information changes while your application is in process, you must notify our office in writing. Note that incarcerated applicants must be represented by a private attorney, friend or family member, or a pardon case specialist/parole manager. Please be sure to have your representative review and submit your application. In Section 3, List only the offenses you were convicted of, not the charges that were dropped. List the name of the offense, not the criminal code. This section is where you list all cases you wish to seek clemency for. Any case that resulted in a conviction can be included in this case. You will start with the oldest case first and continue to the most recent. Example, if you had a conviction in 1977 and a conviction in 1981, you will list the 1977 as case number 1 and 1981 as case number 2. Date of incident. This date is when the crime occurred. This date may be different than your arrest date. Arrest date, the date when you were arrested by law enforcement. OTN number, this is the offense tracking number. This can be found on the criminal complaint. Offenses, list each charge by name that resulted in a conviction. Do not list the crimes code number. Do not list the charge that did not result in a conviction. Describe the incident and how you were involved. Where were you? What exactly did you do? And how were you caught? Summarize the facts of your incident in your own words. This section may be challenging. However, here are some tips on how to answer this question. Who was involved? What did you do? When did you do it? Where did you do it? Why did you do it? The board wants to hear what exactly happened from your perspective. So please be open and honest. If you do not remember the case, say so. If you need more space, please use the supplemental pages from our website. Never say "see attached." Please keep in mind that a copy of the application goes to the district attorney and the president judge. Only the official supplemental pages are included. If the district attorney and the president judge sees "see attached," they won't have the reference attachment to view. In Section 4, you will list additional criminal information and driver history. The Board of Probation and Parole conducts a detailed investigation on each application and will report on any criminal record found. The Board of Pardons appreciates you reporting your complete criminal history. With the exception of the case or the cases you list in Section 3 of your application, have you ever been arrested, taken into custody, held for investigation or questioning, charged by any law enforcement authority, and/or convicted in any court as a juvenile and/or adult? This includes both state and federal levels. If your answer is yes, then check mark yes and provide the information below. If your answer is no, check no and move to the traffic citations and ticket section. In Section 5, you have the option of including a personal statement. If you decide to include a personal statement, there are a few things that you may want to include, such as a summary of how your life has changed since your arrest, reasons why you feel you're a good candidate for the board to consider recommending you for clemency. Remember, please do not use "see attached" or similar language. This goes to the district attorney and president judge to view. If they see attached, they will not have anything included to reference to. In Section 6, you will provide your signature and date. Section 7 goes over how to submit your application. Something else to consider is the Clean Slate program. That has to do with sealing. There are a lot of terms to contend with: pardons, expungement, clemency, and sealing. Sealing is a form of relief provided through the Clean Slate Act and applies to anyone with certain misdemeanors that were incurred 10 years ago or longer. Sealing does not remove the criminal history, but seals it from public view, so an employer or a landlord wouldn't be able to see it. Therefore, you may be eligible for sealing, which allows for a quicker processing time than a pardon. The main thing the board members are looking for is demonstrable evidence that the person has been rehabilitated. That can be in the form of not committing another crime, any personal or professional development, such as getting a degree or an advanced degree. Another factor the board considers is victim impact. So if anyone has a victim impacted by the crime, it is required by Pennsylvania statute that we allow victims to weigh in. Victims are a part of this process, so we do encourage people to reach out to the Office of Victim Advocate. From there, it's really just about putting forth the most compelling application that you can as an applicant. Now it is up to you. Please download your application for a fresh start.